What's up, guys? Welcome to episode 6, Pitching the Content here. Myself, Coach Mooney, and our special guest today, Stephen Baughan, class of 2016.
Man. It hasn't been that long.
My God, dude. Like,
you're acting like I'm...
But you don't realize, like, in my seat, in my shoes, it felt like last year to me. Like, it doesn't feel like it was that long ago. Like,
it doesn't feel like last year to me at all.
Well, yeah, because you're in college, dude. Like, okay, I do the same thing every single year. It's no different, just different kids. Same philosophy, same everything. A couple new ideas here and there. But not having you around for this long just makes you feel like an eternity. Like, that's why we got to think about it. It's like, damn, that was the year right after the 2015 year.
Yeah.
And really, I did remember. I just had a little bit of a slow spot. But that's the year, the 2015 is how I remembered you graduated in 2016.
Yeah.
So, it sucks that everything kind of revolves around that year of 2015 but that's the truth of the matter. So
life moves on. That's
right. And these guys know that, too. They know kind of where we've been and where we're going. So, well, good, man. Well, we're glad to have you here. Like I said, usually it's myself, Coach Wilkerson, Coach King, Coach O'Hare in here doing the podcast. They're all gone today. We're on our half day here during exam week. When you said you're in town, I hope I wasn't rude by just saying, hey, you want to come podcast? I didn't even say, hey, you want to come hang out? I was like, hey, let's go podcast. So
hey, anything for the program, man. You always got to give back as much as you can.
Well, the thing about when I asked you, I knew you were going to say yes. There was no question in my mind that you were going to be like, nah, man, I'm not going to give you an hour of my time because we were probably doing this for about an hour.
Yeah.
I told the guys about, I tried to keep it down to half hour. I don't give a crap about this one. I'm going as long as it takes us to get through the information.
Hey, as many headaches as I gave you through the years, I can give you an hour of my time right now.
There you go. I appreciate that, man. And really, I'm glad you kind of started this there because, it goes back. I think all these guys don't realize it now as young guys, still in high school. These years are so, you forget, you don't realize what you have here at Clover Hill.
Yeah.
You have something really special. And I know that because I didn't have all the things that they have, but you just look around the county. You look around at other high school programs. They don't have what we have. And I'm not saying we have a crazy like indoor facility or just crazy money, but we have a great experience here. And,
I agree.
Stephen, if you don't mind, just to kind of get us started, kick us off, man, go back to your 8th grade year when you were just a little puppy dog. Okay, maybe a big puppy dog, like a baby St. Bernard or something like that, walking through the gates here, playing for who's your first year coach here at 8th grade?
So my 8th grade coach here was actually Coach Harrington.
Okay.
Most of the kids here won't even remember him. Does he teach here still?
He actually does online now, so he doesn't even have to come to the building. He just sits at home on his couch and grades papers.
So my 8th grade year, I was at Swift Creek Middle School, and I wasn't even going to try out for the 8th grade baseball team because I was all about football at the time. But all my travel ball coaches were like, oh, you got to go try it out, test your hands, see how it kind of goes. So you know how nervous you are the first day. You're an 8th grader. You're going out there with all these 9th and 10th graders. They're all clicked up, talking. You finally don't have a place where you don't know where to go at all.
Yeah.
So I just kind of walk in there. I'm talking. I'm this little overweight, unathletic kid coming to tryouts.
Little pudgy dude
coming to tryouts.
Wearing your travel ball gear.
Wearing my travel ball gear. And I didn't have spikes yet. I was still wearing the molded cleats.
Nice.
Man.
Those are back in style though. So you're probably another level.
Yeah, I had the multi-purpose football and baseball cleats.
The Nike Sharks.
Yeah, I had both of them. So I'm coming to tryouts, and our first thing we do is run the 60. I'm like, oh, I'm about to.
Oh, jeez.
I was like, I'm not about to run nothing
hard. Get out the sundial.
I was like, all right. I was like, well, this is what I'm not good at. So let's get this out the way first.
Get it out of the way. Yep.
So I think I finished last in the 60. I was the slowest kid there.
Not surprised.
So that happened. And then, I just kind of was like, well, it can't get much worse than this. I know hitting's coming up next, and I'm good at that.
I know I can do that.
So
don't need to run when you can hit doubles, stand up doubles all day long, right?
Yeah. So we're going through tryouts. I start seeing through tryouts. I'm like, yeah, I'm think I'm good enough to make the team. Just because you kind of scout everybody when you go to the field. You're looking at guys, especially your position, and you're like, I think I'm better than that guy, or I'm not as good as that guy, either or.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going through first day of tryouts. We didn't do any inter-squad. We were just taking batting practice on the field. We were taking some ground balls, all basic stuff. This is when I still was playing third base. So I was at third base, had a pretty good day of tryouts. Made it through the first day of cuts on that first initial day.
Mm-hmm.
So go home, I'm like, all right, well, made it through the first day. Let's see what happens next. So the next day we come back, and they break us up into teams for inter-squadding.
Yeah.
And my very first at bat, I was facing Ryan Severson on the mound.
Oh, boy. Big
first
old
pitch,
Rhino.
First pitch he throws me, I crush it off the wall in center field, first at
And this
bat.
is on the JV field.
This is on the JV field.
You almost hit it on 288.
Yeah. So I'm doing all that. And like I killed it in inter squads. Like I could hit. I was pitching. I was really pitching good too.
Yeah.
And after the second day, Coach Harrington pulls me aside. He's like, "Yeah, I think you're doing really well, but like really bring your A game tomorrow if you want to make the team." And I was like,
I just parked one off the fence, Coach. What are you looking for, man?
I just had like 2 or 3 hits, like through 2
go off by
scoreless
60
innings.
times.
I was like, exactly. I was like, I know I'm slow. I don't look the part, but at least give me a shot.
Yeah.
So then the third day comes around. It's funny. Me and my mom were actually talking about this today when I came up here.
Oh, no way.
And we were sitting in like. It was like a really basic day because it had rained. So we were in the gymnasium, actually.
Okay.
So we didn't really get to do much, and I was actually kind of nervous. I was like, dang, this doesn't help me really at all because I want to be on the field, show them how far I can hit the ball, this, all that. So he brings us all in, and they usually write it on the board. That's how they used to do it here.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be here to look at the board.
Yeah.
So he said he sends all the 9th and 10th graders out, and they bring us back. They leave all the 8th graders in, and they're like, all right, we're going to bring you in individually. And I'm the last one to get called, so I'm like, oh, shoot.
Boy.
I was like, either I'm the last one because I made the team, or I'm the last one because I'm the only one that didn't make the team.
Oh, no.
So I'm sitting there. There's like 5 kids going in front of me, and I'm just like, I'm like, Lord. I'm like sitting there. I'm in my head. I'm like, yeah, I'm about to get cut. So what? I'm about to go play football anyway. I'm thinking like the best case scenario.
I got plan B going.
I got plan B going. I was like, at this point, I didn't even really like base. So I'm like, yeah, I'm just out here for my mom or whatever. So I don't really care.
That sounds like typical Stephen Baughan back in those days. Yeah, that sounds right.
So like, he brings me in there. He's like, so you're gonna live to fight another day. And like my head, I'm not thinking logically. I'm like, what's he talking about? I'm gonna live to fight another day. Like I'm gonna live to fight another day doing something else or what? And I'm like, I asked me, me. I'm like I'm straightforward. I'm like, what do you mean? Like I'm looking at him like kind of crazy. I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, you made the team. And I'm like, oh, I was like, all right.
Yeah, all right, cool.
I was like, all right, cool. Like, what do I do now? Mm-hmm. And he was like, well, be back this time. We'll have a meeting, this, that, and the third. If you're gonna be late, communicate through your school and they'll tell us. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, all right, great.
Yeah.
So after that, it kind of the ball started rolling for me at Clover Hill.
Yeah, and that's awesome because that was pre-Coach Mooney being here.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that was before me.
Yeah,
that was the year before I got here, I believe, right? The year before?
because that was the year we actually beat the varsity team in the
remember
scrimmage and we played them.
Oh, God, I'd never do that. I would never, especially when I knew my varsity team wasn't very good. We would not compete against each other.
Because we were going through a little prank war in the locker room.
So it was getting a little crazy.
It was getting a little crazy in the locker room because one day we come in because they used to make us dress up in like suit and ties for game day.
Wow.
And we come in one day and all our ties are tied together and thrown in the rafters. And me, I'm like, all right.
Yeah, you're ready to throw down.
Yeah, I was like, yo, who touch my stuff? Like, I don't disrespect y'all's stuff. Don't disrespect my stuff. And then the old coach, Coach Warman, he was like, yeah, y'all don't have any respect for the team, this or that. So we're just gonna play a game, and we're gonna show y'all what's up. So, and I was like, so as I watched them play, I was like, you know what? I was like, we might actually beat them because we weren't that bad that year. We were pretty solid.
Yeah, and that's a group that was actually very successful here at Clover. So it was a talented group.
Yeah, we were pretty solid. And I'm like sizing it up. I'm thinking, like we can probably make it through this game.
Yeah.
And then we end up scrimmaging them, and we beat them like 4 or 5 to 1. Like it wasn't even that close of a game. Like, and then like it was just a cool experience watching them like talk. And he's like it shows you that anybody can come to win any day. I'm just like, no, we're just better. We're just better. Yeah. Like we played them 7 out of 10 times.
I'm so glad you said that because that group right there, that was a group that was eventually the 2015 group that we were so successful here at the end of the season.
Yep.
The guys that you played with, and the thing that stands out to me about that group was they had what we call red ass around here. I mean, they were piss and vinegar. They played for a purpose, and they would come out and beat your ass if they had to, if they really were upset about it, or they had a chip on their shoulder. Mm-hmm. So that's that group you're talking about that took care of the varsity group as JV players.
Yeah.
So am I surprised? Hell no, I'm not surprised because I know those guys. And, hey, more power to you guys. I cheer you guys on today. I'm like, yeah, go get them, guys. Go beat those knuckleheads. So,
yeah, right.
Well, good, man. Well, talk a bit. You got the experience, obviously, before I got here.
Yep.
You got to see the coaching. And I don't want to talk bad about any coaches. That's not what we're here to do. But I want to talk about the difference in culture. Like, you got to see what it was before I got here, and then you got to kind of see what happened when I got here. I'm not trying to sit here and pat myself on the back and say, my way's the best way. Yeah. Buy in. What I'm saying is, what were the differences? What changed? Because that first year we were here, I mean, it was not all me. It was these guys stepped up and started doing it. A couple things I asked them to do, and they started winning. They went from winning like 2 games to winning, having a 500 season.
Yep.
So what in your mind, as a guy who wasn't even there that first year because I didn't bring you up?
That was a mistake. Y'all probably would have won a couple more games. Y'all would have put me at third base that year.
If I knew then what I know now, I would have put your butt over there at first base and let Brett DH a little bit. Actually, Brett was pretty good. I would DH your butt. That's why I would have made you DH. Brett was a pretty good first baseman around the bag, and you had some kind of rag on your hand that was sometimes would stop a ball if you even went for it.
I get hit, so it doesn't matter.
That's what I'm talking about. So tell me a little bit talk about your 8th grade culture versus your freshman culture and going forward, what you saw.
The coolest thing about it was I actually came to Clover Hill because when I was in 8th grade, they were like a football powerhouse.
Yeah, they were.
Because I wasn't even in this district as an 8th grader. I get dropped off at my grandma's house, and then I'd ride the bus to Swift Creek, and then I'd ride the bus over here.
Okay.
So I always knew Clover Hill as kind of like a baseball joke before I came here.
Yeah.
When I was in 8th grade, I was like, yeah, they're really bad at baseball, but they're good at football.
They play a little football, yeah.
And that's what I really cared about. I was like, I want to be on the good football team, because I was initially wanting to go to Bird, but that was just too hard to figure out. I couldn't figure out how to get there and all that.
There's a lot of driving.
A lot of driving, yeah. So I ended up sticking at Clover Hill. And I would say the biggest culture change is I don't know, holding more than guys accountable, making sure losing isn't acceptable. You know what I mean? Not being okay with losing.
Yeah.
Because even my 8th grade year on the JV team with those guys, we were pretty solid. I think we had a winning record. And then the next year following after that, we went 16-2.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal year. That was O'Hare's first year.
O'Hare's first year, yeah. And we really should have been 17-1.
That might have had a little bit to do with it too. Coach O'Hare's the real deal.
Yo, dude, I tell people all the time, because remember my junior year, I was struggling hitting. Coach O'Hare comes up for one little hitting lesson. The next game, we're playing deep run of the region, 5 for 5. I was
right on time.
I was like, dude, thank you so much, Coach. Coach O'Hare is a really good baseball coach.
I'm blessed now. You didn't get to really experience that because he was a JV coach for us for so many years. Well, when we got Coach Wilkerson here, Coach O'Hare came up with me. He's our bench coach. God bless.
That's a blessing, dude. Talk hitting with those dudes on the bench.
Every at bat, he'll break down. He has his chart is the Coach O'Hare chart. It's not even a chart. It's a yellow pad of paper, and he has his own little redneck system of writing things down, and it makes sense.
If it works for you, it works.
Oh, Steven, you would have ate it up every single game. You would have been like, Coach, it wasn't mechanics. It was all approach. It was all what pitch did you hit? What count was it? He just gives you things that it's next level stuff that nobody in the county gets. Yeah. And that's another thing these guys don't realize they have.
That's why I used to tell people when I was playing JV, I was like, dude, I get so much knowledge from this guy right here. I would put him against any coach knowledge-wise in baseball. It's unmatched.
Dude.
Unmatched.
Any coach.
Any coach.
Me having the head coaching position here at Clover Hill as a varsity coach is a gift from God because that guy has more baseball knowledge than he already forgot more about baseball than I know.
Yeah, he's a really good coach. I preach that to people all the time.
Yeah, man, he's the best in the state. He's the best on the East Coast in my mind. I mean, as far as hitting goes and as far as understanding the game.
Yeah, I was about to understand the game.
Because I always talk really highly about Coach Zell over at Ocean Lakes, how he knows the high school game and he can coach to win high school games with minimal talent. But Coach O'Hare the game, he just knows it.
I agree 100%.
So we're blessed to have that. So you got to play from. I want to go back to a quick story real quick. I want you to tell me your perspective because Coach O'Hare, I wish he was here to talk about this. But there was a game, I believe it was, at James River High School.
Yeah, I remember this game.
Your freshman year.
All right, so let's
hear about that a little bit.
So we went 16-2 this year. In this game, we shouldn't have lost. So
and you were on the hill.
I was pitching. I was throwing a complete game. I was throwing a one-hitter. It was like the 7th inning. We're going to the last inning. I literally go up to Coach O'Hare. I'm sorry, Kyle Bond, if you hear this. I go to Coach O'Hare, and I'm saying, as long as they don't hit the Kyle Bond, we're going to win this game. Literally right before I go out there. That's the funniest part about this.
You're a freshman saying
I was a freshman saying this. I was like, as long as they don't hit it to them, we're going to win this game. So the first batter, I strike out the first three. I'm like, oh, these dudes suck. I'm about to strike all 3 of them out. We're just about to go home with my attitude. You know how I am.
Yep.
So then they lay a bunt down with throwing a one-hitter. They're down by 1 run, so I'm looking at them like, oh, yeah. I was like, I'm about to hit the next guy in my head. I was like, nah, it's a close game. I'm not going to hit him. But the dude bunts it. Kyle Bond gets it, throws it over the fence on the JV field at first base, and I'm like, all right, it's only on second base. I'm going to strike the next 2 dudes out. Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Hits the ball to him again. Throws it over the thing again. So at this point, I'm like, all right. I'm like, dude, I really got to start striking these dudes out now because they hit them again. It's not going to be good. So there's a guy on second base. So it's tie game now.
Yeah.
I throw a curveball or a slider. Dude breaks his bat off, and a metal bat breaks off the knob, blooper over Kyle Baughan's head because he's slow.
Oh, boy.
Dude scores. So after he scores, I take my glove and I throw it down. And I look at Kyle Baughan. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to use the language I use.
Yeah.
I was like, you suck. You shouldn't be on the field.
Oh, boy.
Like, just going in on him, untuck my jersey. Like, I wouldn't even go through the line and shake hands because I was so, like, fired up. And, like, if you know me, like, my personality when I was younger, just, like, who I was.
They don't know you. They don't know you.
So we come in, like, we're going in our meeting at the back. And, like, I always had a lot of respect for Coach O'Hare. Always did. Never talked back to him. Never gave him any trouble because, I mean, if I respect you, I'm not going to give you trouble, like, if I can trust what you're saying.
Yeah.
And as soon as I get there, he's like, he looks at me, and I see he's about to fire me up. I look at him in the eyes. I'm like, oh, here it goes. He's like, first thing I'm going to say, don't ever untuck your jersey until I give you permission to. That's the first thing he says. He said, you played such a great game, but you're acting like a little bitch. So I'm like looking at him in my head. I'm like, dude, I just gotta take this.
Yeah,
He's like, I don't care how good you are.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I'll lose every game and sit you on the bench. I don't care, just to prove a point.
Yeah.
And I was like, but like that resonates with you because I was being extremely immature. Because errors happen at baseball.
Oh,
I'm by far not perfect in the field at all. So I've made my fair share of errors. So
a couple we wouldn't consider errors because you never even got the glove on the ball. or you forgot to make a move to the ball.
If it's more than a step to the left or right, I just kind of let it go in high school. It is what it is.
Didn't cost us any games, Steven, I swear. Not a single one.
I always made up for it with hitting, though.
You did. How many home runs did you hit your senior year?
7 home runs.
7, dude, that's a freaking huge year.
I hit 480, 7 home runs, and 40 RBIs in one senior year.
That's the only reason why we won any games. Let's be real. Without that offense, we don't win games.
Yeah, so. But that year you had Kai. Kai was a really, really good hitter. Me and Kai produced a lot of runs. A kid that people forget about from that team that I'm a big fan of was Bryce Holyfield.
Dude, he was a little scrappy dude.
That's what I'm saying. I thought he was a baller.
He was a transfer dude. He was a guy who didn't make the Cosby team.
Yeah.
And he came to Clover Hill. He was our starting second baseman.
Yeah, dude. I was always a humongous fan of the way he played baseball.
He was gritty. He was really gritty. He wasn't the most talented guy. He didn't have the best tools, but he competed.
Yeah,
and really, that's really, we're kind of at a point now in our program where, we are actually getting better. And you know why I know this, and this is why I'm glad you're here. We're playing other sports. We're not just baseball guys. You remember how many guys played multiple sports when you were here?
Probably me, and that was it.
Yeah.
Maybe. No, I think I was the
You might have been the only one. Yeah, so
because it kind of got weeded out when we first got there. We had like Kyle Ryan played football with me, Brett Angeloff, all them played football with me. They stopped playing football with me. Yep, as we got to like varsity level.
Well, that's how I know we're getting more athletic, is because our attendance is actually, it's not an issue, but our attendance is lower because everybody's playing other sports. We got a whole bunch of football guys.
That's good though.
We got volleyball. We got golf. We had a couple golfers, basketball guys. So we have a lot of guys playing different sports. So I loved having you on this right now because I'm like, hey, he's a guy who did it. He's a guy who got to see two different cultures. And unfortunately for you, both of them were not really, football kind of went downhill before it came up. I mean, I think baseball was coming up as football was going down. But you got to experience two different kinds of teams. You got to see a team that really pushed through losses and ended up winning a few, and a couple teams that were just like, you lose and you lose the next one because of that loss, and you lose the next one because of that loss. So it's like, man, you got to experience both, and you got to make a choice in your life which way you're going to live your life.
Yeah.
Am I going to push through losses, or am I going to let those losses bring me down? And I'm glad that we had, you were able to experience that, because I mean, I think that's made you a better athlete.
I think so as well.
I think it's taken. I was going to let you say that yourself, but I'm guessing that that's what it was. But really, it's you played in a really transitional period here for us at Clover Hill, so it was a weird time.
Yeah, dude, I absolutely loved it here. I tell people how much I love this school all the time.
Yeah, and
good people at Clover Hill did a lot for me.
I don't think people realize that too either.
There's good people here. Yeah. Like once you get to college and you realize that those coaches don't really care about you if you can't help them.
Yeah.
It's not like in high school when they actually genuinely care about you.
It's a business. Hey, I'm gonna have my job whether I go 0-20. Or 20-0. I'm gonna have a job, and if it was about wins and losses, I'd be a miserable dude.
Yeah,
I hate losing.
But yeah, there's just so many great people at Clover Hill. Great teachers, great people.
Yeah, and it's still the same as when you were. I tell you what.
Amazing people.
Yeah, Dr. Marks moved on, did her thing, but the same people are here, and the support we have now in the building is just as good as it was. Mm-hmm. So we moving forward, let's kind of change gears a little bit. You talked about. A little bit of the culture. It was kind of like the baseball culture was just like it was what it was. Mm-hmm. Football was kind of up and kind of started getting down. I show up, the players start playing a little bit, and the things started shifting. had 2015 happen, whatever. Can you relate the culture? You know, obviously we talked briefly about how the football culture was different than baseball. But in your experience now that you've been at Norfolk State, you've been there for 4 years, you saw that program have a culture shift with some coaching changes. And, you know, talk about culture that you've seen in different programs you play for, whether it's baseball, football, Clover Hill, Norfolk State, hell, travel ball. I don't care.
So,
talk about that a little bit. What you see and what you think works.
What I think works is you have to have a coach. Like my head coach right now at Norfolk State, Keith Shumate, is one of the best coaches I've ever had. He's a lot like you. Like he's firm on you. He'll ride you, but he definitely will be the first one to give you praise when you deserve it. And he'll hold you accountable, but he's still like, no one messes with his guys but him. He's one of those guys.
Yeah.
And it makes you just appreciate them so much more because you know, like, it doesn't matter what happens. He's still going to be there for me. He's just a good coach. But you still have to, like, have good guidelines. Like, you have to have a set, do this, be this way. You got to ride you. But it's not because they don't like you. It's because they want you to be good.
Trying to hold you accountable.
They want to hold you accountable because you're never going to get better if your mediocre stuff isn't being, like, held accountable, or they don't check you, or, like, let you know you're not as good as you think you are.
Yeah.
Because a lot of dudes, especially in high school, a lot of people think they're a lot better than what they think they are.
Yeah, that
because
piece of humble pie tastes pretty sour when you're a high school dude.
Because you got to think that, like, in high school you can get away with, you do this or that. Because you see, what do you think? How many teams do you think there's really some studs on each team? Like, guys that are dudes, you know what I mean?
Man, it's there. You know, you get your typical schools every year. You know, your Cosby, James River have them every year. You
have a couple teams with dudes, but like every other school, they kind of get mixed around. You're the guy there, but you wouldn't even play on another team.
Exactly. Yep.
And you just got to always remember that someone's always better than you. Like there's a guy that's better than him, better than anybody. There's always someone better out there, but you need a coach there that'll kind of check you. You know what I mean? Let you know that like you haven't done anything, like you haven't arrived yet. You know what I mean? Go do it. Exactly. That's what I mean. But you have to have a coach that's stern, but also gives you praise when you deserve it. Like you just can't be mean and like hurtful all the time. Like you gotta give them the praise when they deserve it. I think.
And I think the hardest balance as a coach, you know, coming from talking about culture with a player, they got to realize that we're not here to be your friend. You know, the second we start getting friendly, we're not doing our jobs anymore. We're here to hold you accountable. It's not our job to really make it fun either.
Yeah.
You know, the fun actually happens on its own when you start winning. And,
making the friendships and
exactly.
It's like a brotherhood.
That's your job as players, but it's our job to be, we build that culture by setting standards.
I think the friendship thing kind of happened as you get older too, because like once you get there, you've been there for a couple years, you know how things get run. You get building more of a relationship with your coaches.
Yep.
And like they kind of use you as like a liaison to like help with the players. Because like at Norfolk State this year, like I'm one of the captains, and Shumate uses me to get to the players a whole lot. So as you get older, I feel like that friendship kind of grows because you're not as more inserting a system in you; it's more giving the system to other kids.
And it's an echo. It's an echo. What I say, it means a lot more coming from a player and then somebody who's saying the exact same thing. And that's another reason why I'm so glad I got Coach King here now, because he's echoing the things that I've always said, and hearing it from him and knowing that he did it for 3 years for me at Clover Hill and then did it over at Bridgewater. I mean, it's the echo is the most priceless thing you could have as a coach when your players echo you. And a lot of times it's not easy to buy into what a coach wants you to do. Hey, I want you to work out 4 days a week with us at high school. You're like, what? 4 days? Coach, I got a girlfriend, or I'm trying to have a girlfriend.
30 minutes a day for 4 days. They just don't understand. That's nothing.
Yeah, get to college.
Nothing.
Get to college. It's your whole day.
Exactly.
Like, they got you in morning workouts. You go to class all day because you can't miss that because you'll catch crap. You're lucky if you get lunch.
Yeah.
You go to practice. It's not just that. You got to get to the clubhouse.
Yeah.
You got to get to the clubhouse.
And then they don't even put in the early, the early work in quotation marks.
Yeah.
Don't go to early work, don't play.
Yeah. And then you get to practice. You practice the whole time. Then you get off practice and you're like,
study hall.
I got to eat dinner sometime. Let me rush to the D hall so I can get some dinner real quick.
Yeah.
You're eating with the dudes and you're like, we got to go study hall. So everybody leaves together. You get to study hall. Now you got 2-3 hours of study hall. You get home, you're like, it's 10 o'clock.
I just want to just go to sleep, do it again the next day.
Yeah. And that's if you didn't want to get some extra work in. It's like, it's a life.
It is. It really is.
And I guess that's the cool part about, being, that's why it's the next level. And a lot of guys, I wish they could just have a day in the life.
Because I think a lot of kids in high school think they want to play college ball, and then they don't know what all goes into it. It doesn't matter if you're a JUCO guy, a D3 guy, or a D1 guy, dude. You're putting in that work. You're not getting away from it.
It's a job.
It's a job. It is.
And unfortunately, it's
and
a job
you don't get a lot from it.
Yeah,
You know what
it's
I mean?
a job that you want that you're not going to get. Baseball, hell, I still make money from doing baseball. You're not going to ever make money off baseball, ever, unless you're the top of the top. You're not going to make money off of it. So you're learning the grind, and the grind is. It sounds a little cliche with everybody talking over the grind and put this music in the background and talk with this cool voice. The grind. But no, it's a grind.
It is, dude. It really is.
It effing sucks.
And don't even talk about the season when you have 2 midweek games when you got to drive 5 hours away, come back that night.
And you're missing class.
And then you have to go to your 8 a.m. after you get back off the bus at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
and your coach is going to be there looking in through the window because he knows that's the class you'll try to skip.
And you missed a class that had a quiz that day, and then you had to make it up, and then the professor really just doesn't like you because you sit in the back and you're tired. Guess why I'm tired? I just got done working out. Squatting 350 and at 6 in the morning,
doing conditioning tests.
My coach was like, okay, let's do a gut check today. You're like, God bless it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's just there's so much more to it than anybody even knows. Everybody wishes and wants to be this. It's not just show up kind of deal. You have to put the work and the time in. And what I've done here for years is just try to prep. And now what I bring is not even close to what you get when you get there, but give you a little bit, give you a taste of the workout, the weight room. Now, you weren't much of a weight room guy when you were with me. I remember I was like, oh, come on, Steven. Come on to the weight room. Let's go. That's where we'll be. You come on and join us when you're ready.
Yeah.
But you had I think you had Baughan Air basketball. And
I mean, I was a Baughan Air League All-Star in basketball. I was.
Hoop Dreams.
I mean, I kind of edged out in that one with my athleticism. I kind of give that dream up kind of early.
Let's change that word, athleticism. Let's just go with talent.
Talent, yeah. My basketball talent, I skipped that gene.
Yeah, he was a cherry picker. No, but we, there's a lot more to it than just showing up. I mean, I think the one thing that we're trying to give these guys is this is what the weight room looks like at the next level. This, yes, we're doing a different type of lift, but this is what it looks like. This is the environment. This is the culture. This is the energy that you see in a college weight room during the workouts. This is a schedule. This is the accountability. You got to go to class. You got to get grades. You have to be to practice on time. You can't miss practice for no reason.
Exactly. Like here, in high school you get away with it a little more, but let's say you're sick and you don't want to go to practice that day. Let you have a cold or something, don't come to practice. Then everyone thinks you're soft and
coach is like, go see the trainer.
Go see the trainer, yeah, and see how sick you really are.
And then you're like, God, I'm okay. You're dehydrated because of a rough night the
night before. Yeah. You went out on a Thursday night.
I'm sick. I'm sick. I'm dehydrated is really what's the problem. But then you have to face the music, and it's a growing piece. And I'm not saying I got it figured out here because there's no way to replicate or duplicate the college game at the high school level. You can't do it, but you can make it similar. You can give it that cultural feel, the same. You're trying to make it. You have so many games in college. Division I baseball, we have 56 games. In high school baseball, we have 20 games, and we fight this battle all the time with travel ball. They play 100 games, Sunday games. Game number 4 of your weekend. It means nothing. So you lose the urgency of the game. What we try to do here is everything we do is around building a culture that will be ready to win 20 baseball games. And every single one matters so much. You can't take a game off.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're playing George Wythe or Cosby.
No. You got to go out there with the same intensity. And the guys think I'm crazy. Because when we go to play, we almost lost to Huguenot 2 years ago. Yeah. I mean, extra innings. Yeah. I had a couple guys suspended for missing a Friday practice. I'm like, guys, I don't care. I'll lose to Huguenot. It'll be the first time a city school's ever beat a county team. Watch. I will be all over the newspaper. I'm proud of it. But that's on you guys for missing the Friday workout. And sure enough, they gave us a run for our money. It was tough. I had to pull out our number 1 starter as a closer to win that game.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, it was bad. And those guys will tell you about it. It was embarrassing. It was embarrassing.
Bill's character, though. They won't miss a Friday practice anymore.
You better believe it. And they had one pitcher who could just go out there and he was a little Hispanic dude. You know about those Hispanic dudes over there at Norfolk State. They live baseball, and he lived baseball. He went there and he was a thrower. He's like, I'm going to throw right here. You hit it. And we hit the ball right at him. Hey, even, the worst talented guy at Huguenot's going to catch a fly ball if you hit it to him.
Yeah, I agree.
That's what they did. So, that just, you got to come every day. And the cultures are very similar. That's at least what I'm trying to build is the culture both ways. So, well, good, man. Let's go and change gears a little bit. And, you got to witness a little bit of buy-in when you first got here, when I came in with this new idea, this new program, if you will.
Yeah.
Buy-in is not always something that's easy because really you got to experience buying into my program, but you also got the ability to leave my program and have to buy into somebody else's principle. When I heard how they were teaching you guys how to bunt there, I almost lost my crap, okay? I was like, what are they teaching you about bunting? But guess what? It's not my job.
Yeah.
You have to buy into what your program's saying and do what your coach tells you to do. So just real quick, give me your definition of what you think buying in is. Like, give me, you've done it a couple times. You bought into programs because you weren't always 110% into my program all the time, but you grew into it. What is buying in?
The biggest thing to buying in is you just be loyal to your people. Like, you know me, I'm an extremely loyal person. Like, if you're my people, I'm gonna take care of you to the end.
Yeah.
So if you buy in, you gotta make sure you get your coach, because if your coach gets you, like, your coach needs support too. You gotta remember that everyone thinks like coach is like ride or die. They gotta do everything alone. Your coach needs your support just like you need your coach's support.
Big time.
So I always make sure like my coach at school knows like I always got him. Like, if you need something done, I'll do it. You don't really argue about it. It's not always being because I'm not the most emotional, gentle, I'm gonna be here type of guy. But you gotta just make life easier for them. You know what I mean? When they ask you to do something, don't why is this, why is that? I mean, you got to build a relationship where if they say something, I trust them. I know he's telling me to do it for the right reason, so I just do it. You don't question them. You don't give them like a hard time about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay to have difference of opinions, but you never show your coach up in front of other players. It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah.
So, like, me personally right now, let's say I have a issue with something Shimei does. It doesn't matter what I've done at Norfolk State. I would never, ever question him or show him up in front of other players. I would never do anything like that. If I have an issue, I'll go talk to him about it in his office when it's just me and him, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just showing your coach, like, that you care, that you're genuinely enough to do it.
I'm going back to my playing days. I played for two great coaches, and Coach Zell over at Salem when I was there, and Coach Bowling over at Longwood. Dude, my job was to make them look good. Make them look like they made the right decisions, make them look like they did everything right. And I took some pride in that. Like, I'm making this guy look good. I want him to not have to worry about a thing or two because I took care of it, and that's actually an assistant coaching thing. So everybody's getting into coaching. That's, as an assistant coach, that's your job to make the head coach look good. And really, as head coaches, we don't care if we look good or not. We're going to do what we want.
Exactly.
We're going to do what we want. And whether we look like crap doing it, hey, we're going to stick to our guns and we're going to ride. Like you said, ride or die. It's so much easier when you got support. So much easier when you got buy-in. And I think you hit the nail on the head right there. Just loyalty, support your coach, buy into what he's saying. And
because a lot of guys, when the ship starts sinking, they just like to hop off.
Oh,
man.
God, it's so easy.
You can't do
so
that.
Easy.
You can never hop off the ship on somebody, especially someone that invests, because you invest so much time in these kids, and they don't understand, like, all the hours you put in doing laundry and getting the field ready. And, like, you don't appreciate that much as when you're in school because you don't kind of understand it. But then you, like, go to college, and they're making the young guys. You're going out there working on the field.
You're working on the field. You're doing the laundry.
You're doing the laundry, so it's like you kind of make a difference.
Like,
you make an understanding
Who
of
did this
it.
in high school? It must have been Coach Mooney doing this. If we weren't doing it.
Yeah. But then after your freshman year, you kind of appreciate. You're like, all right, it's my turn to sit back and relax and like watch y'all young guys do it.
Y'all got to learn too.
You got to learn the hard way.
You got to learn how I learned.
Exactly.
Well, good. I mean, that's exactly how I did it too when I was in college. I mean, you
have to. Nobody's too good to do the work.
It's a growing experience. I mean, I love the idea of not necessarily doing laundry and the grunt work, but I like everybody up all the way up the ladder, working. Let's show those young guys what it looks like. You're well experienced. You did it, so go show them exactly how to do it. And that goes a long way outside the game as well. So,
I agree.
I mean that's great, man. I mean buying in for us has been pretty easy recently because there's no
group
option.
Of kids.
I got a good group of kids, and really they have a lot of resources, and that can be a challenge too when they have a lot of resources.
It's easy for you to wander.
They have a lot of different voices they're listening to, a lot of ways into their head. And when they come in here and they put on the green and gold, sorry about it, fellas, it's my way. It's the way we've done it. It's your way, Steven. It's your way, the way you had to do it, the way Kyle Ryan had to do it, the way even Nathan Iskowitz had to do it. It's like I can't sit here and take a back seat to somebody else just because you pay them money.
Yeah, I agree.
When you come in this gate at Clover Hill, you're going to do it my way because you owe it to the other guys who did it, and you haven't done anything special. You owe them that respect. So for buying in, it's not always an easy thing to do, but when you play for somebody, I don't care who you play for, you do it their way, and hopefully take a couple of things you learned along the way with you. And that's the next point I really wanted to bring up. I wanted to ask you, did you feel prepared for playing baseball at the next level after leaving Clover Hill with the things that we worked on so hard as a program. I mean, you weren't always the buy-in guy right away. You had a lot of growing up to do as a high school player. And it was so cool to watch you grow up because you went from a guy who was Stephen F. and Baughan, God bless, to Stephen Baughan, like Big Teddy Bear Stephen Baughan. We love you. So you transitioned, you evolved into this program player. You evolved and grew up. And, what did you draw from Clover Hill that you were able to take to the next level? And, really, why did it work?
For me as a person, I take a lot of pride in people that put pride into me.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're showing me that you care and that you're gonna be here for me, then I'm not never gonna disrespect you.
Mm-hmm.
So like you, Coach O'Hare, Miss Jones, all those tremendous, Coach Ziglock,
Mm-hmm.
that were always there for me when I was acting a fool or doing things I shouldn't have, and like just kind of kept showing me what I should and shouldn't do. And like that meant so much to me. Like y'all don't understand. Like that's carried with me through life today.
Good.
So that, I don't know, I would never just spit in someone's face that's been there for me. You can't ever disrespect someone that's taking care of you.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that, Steve. I mean, that's, to hear you probably say that after your freshman year, we knew you had it in you. We see it there. We're like, this kid's going to take some, we're going to have to bring him along,
Yeah.
And you came along. Speak more towards the baseball side of it. Like, what were some of the baseball things that you really took with you to the next level?
Well, at Norfolk State, when I first got there, but you got to realize, when I was playing in this district was no joke.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was facing all those arms we face now are in the league. Like, you got to figure, there was weeks we'd face Griffin Roberts, first-round draft pick, Hunter Williams, 10th-round draft pick,
Mm-hmm.
Nick Butts is a starter at William & Mary.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, there was no shortage of legitimate arms that you were facing. Like, I was telling
Every
people,
week.
dude, I was facing better pitching my senior year in high school than the fall that I got to Norfolk State.
Hey, you're one up right out of the gates. Hey,
That's what I'm saying. That's why I was going up there. I was like, oh, I can definitely but seeing that like this district is no joke.
Yeah.
Like you make it out of this district as a dude, like there's some good talent out here.
Yeah.
So I feel like that specifically helped me so much because you see a lot of those kids that play out there in the sticks you see a lot of kids that play up north that'll come down and they struggle a little bit when they first get there.
Yeah.
But like kids that play in this district, like it gets you ready.
It's
like
a different brand of baseball.
Different brand of baseball.
Yeah.
I agree.
Good.
And just like the practices are a lot like I practiced in college.
Okay.
It's pretty similar. You get in a structure, you get good at it, you do it every day.
Mm-hmm.
My coaches are a lot like you. Don't do it like we do base running.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do a lot of unnecessary running.
Yeah. I hate running.
So, I feel like I was prepared because our practices were a lot like what I had here.
Okay.
There wasn't much difference.
Good. How about the weight room? Did you?
Weight room was kind of in college. You have to take the weight room seriously.
You have a choice.
Because the old guys, if you're not taking the weight room, will jump you. And then you have a real strength and conditioning coach. That's his only job.
That's his job.
That's his job. So his
job's on the line.
And once he sees you that you don't take it seriously, then he starts watching you every day.
He's the guy that's also working with football. So he deals with some strong guys and some guys that really get after it. So he sees you slacking. He knows what slacking looks like.
Yeah, and then once you slag once, then he starts watching you. And then once he picks you out, then he's on you all the time.
Yeah, and you don't want to be that guy.
You definitely don't want to be that guy.
Don't want to be that guy.
But I feel like this Clover Hill prepared me well. Like, I went to Norfolk State and was well prepared to play ball.
Good. Is there anything specific that you kind of took from Clover Hill and almost gave to Norfolk State? Anything that you like? You know what? Hey, this is probably when I'm dropping on you. We didn't talk about this before, but I'm curious. I want to know: is there something that you did here or learned here that you're like, hey? How about this, guys? What is there anything like that? Because I know I did that with I did that when I was going from high school to college.
So when I was at Clover Hill, a lot of people think that I just was the best high school player all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a really good sophomore year here. I had a bad junior year. I had a really, really bad junior year.
Yeah.
And it kind of
showed me
at the beginning of the year, I wasn't.
At the beginning.
Yeah, I wasn't playing like myself at all. And it just showed me that like struggle happens.
Yeah.
And that's carried my way through the whole season. Because even last year, the great year I had in college, everything, my first 20 at bats, I was 0 for 20.
Yeah.
It's 0 for 20, all these
That
strikeouts,
sucks.
all everything.
Oh, it's miserable.
But like in my head, I'm thinking, I've been here before.
Mm-hmm.
Don't panic. Just ride the wave.
And we had many phone calls that year, if I remember right. We'll talk through some rough times. And, what do I do? Just hit your fastball, Steven. Get the fastball.
I agree. That's what you got to do.
Get the fastball, and then, hey, if it starts breaking them off, the scout report gets around on you. You better learn how to hit the curveball.
Yeah.
Or the slider, God forbid.
Yeah, I hate sliders.
Yeah, that were my nemesis too. But, Yeah, I remember when I was in high school, we had such a new school look. Like, it was Coach Zell was the new school guy. And then you go to play for Buddy Bolden, completely old school. He's just old school to the bone. So you're just sitting there like, how do I morph that new school into the old school? And I found myself trying to do that. And it wasn't easy. There's always that little thing that like, we did this at high school. Why can't we do that here? You can't always transition it. You can't. But there's some things that in your own personal game, like the approach. Let's say, fastballs early in the count. Every time you called me with an issue, I'm like, Steven, just get that fastball. The first good one you see, let's go after it. Keep the aggressive look. Now, did that work all the time? No, because you have to do it the way your coach tells you. The way they taught you how to bunt. I'm blessing myself right now because Jesus probably doesn't even agree with the way y'all.
I don't ever bunt anyways. That isn't really.
I just remember when Kai came back he wants to do what?
Let's just say Kai Sims is a different ball game.
Yeah, I agree. But he was talking me through the fundamentals of it, and I'm not a big mechanical guy, but there's a right way in my mind and a wrong way, just based on my training from Coach Bowling.
Yeah, I agree.
And I was like, you got to do that. That was a tough one, but man, well, that's good. I'm glad that some of the things that you got to experience here did translate in the next level.
100%, big time.
Good. Well, let's go back. Let's think about something. You had 4 years.
Let's hear what you got to say
You
about
had 4 years here. Okay,
yeah.
5 years really if you count your JV year.
Yeah.
4 years with me, so I can relate with those 4 years at least. If you go back, change one thing. If you go back, change just one thing that you could do just a little bit differently, or just maybe say, "Oh, I wish that had never happened," or "I wish I had done this." What would that one thing be?
It's probably just being a better teammate. Because when I was in high school, I just was not a good teammate at all. I was a selfish guy, and it wasn't even intentional. It's just my personality.
Personality, yeah.
Because, me personally, I hate getting checked by anybody, especially when you're just a player. So,
you hate getting checked by Jacob Fontana at Collegiate.
Where was the Benedictine?
Benedictine.
I just had to jerk him up and let him know not to touch me.
I was like, Steven, pack your shit. Get out of here.
I was like, all right.
Bye.
I was like, bye, I'll see you later. But, I mean, that was me being immature as well. Me personally, to this day, I probably would have handled the situation a little differently.
I agree.
But what I wouldn't handle differently is, I don't know. I probably wouldn't have came in and thrown my stuff. I don't do that anymore. It's really childish, immature.
Grew out of it.
Grew out of it. And but I would say just being a better teammate, really being there for the guys and kind of being a better leader.
Well, it's funny you say that because I can kind of see that. Like, I saw you when you came back after your first year. I'm like, whoa. He's become a pretty good teammate. The word captain was being tossed around after freshman year. I'm like, okay, well, he's, we all saw you just mature from that 8th grade year that I wasn't here for, but that 9th grade year when I saw him, like, every year you got better. And I think I can continue to say that going from your junior year in college to your senior year in college. You're getting better. And what I tell everybody when I talk about Stephen Baughan is, like, he's going to keep on going with that. Like, he's going to, his senior year, when you get picked up sometime in June, whatever round or free agent, whatever it is, you're going to keep on going with it. And it's cool. It's going to be really cool to see that, and I'm looking forward to it because we've seen such a huge growth because it was
another thing people don't understand about me is, like, at this point in my life, it's like baseball is not the end-all, be-all for me. Of course, it's amazing the opportunities I have received through baseball, but at the end of the day, it's a win-win. Like, I've made so many great memories and so many great friends at Norfolk State, and even at Clover Hill playing baseball that no matter if I don't play another pitch, like, there's so much grateful for this for the baseball. You know what I mean?
And the game teaches us so much. I mean, I guarantee this game has molded you into somebody that's not going to be in jail.
Football season, Steven, and baseball season, Steven, is totally different.
Baseball treats you differently. You got to learn how to fall on your face.
Yeah,
and you get embarrassed a little bit, and you got to be able to handle it.
Yeah.
And I think the game definitely does do some weird things to you as an individual, as a person. Hell, I mean, that's still doing things to me.
Yeah, I agree, man.
It's amazing what it does.
It grows us up every day.
Hey, and you might not be a permanent fixture in your life, but guess what? You walk away with some really cool experiences and knowledge of life. I mean, it's so much bigger than the game.
Oh, it is, 100%.
You just hope that one day to,
pass it off to somebody else.
Yeah, and you hope it treats you right in the end because really this game can be a butt kicker. There's one day where you're just gonna say "F you, baseball."
Yeah, it's just cool for me to say because nobody would have thought when I was growing up that I'd be where I'm at today. And it's just a cool thing because there's so many kids like me out there that think that you're making these mistakes when you're young, that it totally dictates your future, and it doesn't.
No, and you just grow and learn.
You just grow and learn,
It's amazing. I mean, just you're the poster child, dude. You are the poster child of this is what it looks like, guys. You know, this is where you start. This is where you start, and this is what you can become.
Yeah,
if
I
you
agree.
Let's go back to that word, buy-in.
Yeah.
If you buy in, you grow up, you mature, you believe, you're loyal. All these positive things that the game had taught you that you're now teaching everybody else through this pod.
Yeah.
You know, these are real things. These are things that can help you succeed in life.
I agree.
And it's amazing that, you know, just to watch you do it. It's, as a coach, we don't make money. We talked about that. You're not going to make money doing baseball. But guess what? We get to know that, hey, Stephen Baughan's one of my dudes. Stephen Baughan made it. Stephen
Yeah.
Baughan, you know, he's doing his thing. He's fixed his life up, and he's going to be a great husband one day.
Yeah.
Be a great dad one day. I like to think that's because of baseball. Maybe something I may have told him along the way. And there's your reward.
I agree.
That's what we work for here as coaches is our Stephen Baughans.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, so for you being my first returning player on this podcast, you know, this is one that I want everybody to listen to eventually. I want the guys, you know, if we're on episode 136, I want them to come back to episode 6.
I hope I can just give them something they can stick with.
Well, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna call you in the All-Star break, do a phone interview when you're doing during the All-Star break, and you know when you're in the big leagues. So,
Dude, I gotta finish this senior year out strong before I start thinking of anything else.
I'm not trying to make you think about that either.
Hey,
but
get this degree first, kids.
Yeah, get the degree.
Hey, don't. I'm serious about that one.
Yeah,
There ain't no
Yeah.
money in minor league baseball.
Nope.
Get your degree.
it's a grind, just like college is a grind.
Oh, what? I learned that in the Northwoods this summer. terrible schedule.
Hey, cool. I'm sure you got there though. You know.
Yeah,
You-
it was playing in Bismarck for the Larks. That league is. Once y'all get to college, if you can get into the Northwoods, if you can withstand 10-hour bus rides
Oh,
and
God.
getting malnourished, then go.
peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah,
In a bottle of water.
Yeah, bottle of water, some pretzels.
Yeah, man. Well, good. Well, let's go and switch gears a little bit. Again, talk about your earliest baseball memory. Let's go all the way back to Pampers, dude. When you were in diapers, I know Big Steve, probably had something to do with it.
So, when I was growing up playing baseball, I sucked. I wasn't very good. I didn't take it seriously at all.
Yeah.
Because, like, if you know anything about my household, it's football or dive household. That's
yeah.
what it is. That's all it's about. And I was always, like, the superstar of football. Mm-hmm. So, as I started to grow up, I was playing rec league baseball. And I remember my dad was so mad at me one day because I just couldn't figure out how to pitch. Mm-hmm. And I was like, we're out there at Rockwood Park on the little Pinto field out there. And I'm out there just pitching. And every time I throw a ball, I had to run a lap.
Oh,
That's
God.
what Steve was doing to me. So I'm like, all right.
And you weren't much of a runner then.
I really wasn't then either. And I'm like, all right, well. So I just got tired of running laps. So I was like, dude, I'm going to find a way to get this over the plate. Mm-hmm. And it kind of just stuck with me after that. And that's probably my earliest baseball memory.
I'm telling you, Big Steve had something to do with it. I knew
Yeah,
it.
he did.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Big Steve. You guys don't know Big Steve, all right? The way I know Big Steve. Big Steve was that guy, that parent. You're like, oh crap, this guy's gonna give me a hard time. He was our biggest fan and supporter the whole
Dude,
time.
everyone gets this wrong idea about my dad.
Your dad's
my
a
dad's
saint.
He's a good guy.
He's a
He really
saint.
is. He just don't want to get on his bad side.
No.
That's all.
I don't think we ever did.
No, if you're respectful to my dad is so respectful to you.
Yeah,
Just,
but
you know
he
what
was
I
the
mean?
guy we were always like, oh god, this is gonna be the one.
And the people that have issues with my dads are guys that are shady, that aren't just come up and say things like you, Chris Martin at Rise, O'Hare. They're always up front. They give them to you straight.
Yeah.
Like that's what my dad always preached to me. Like if someone is giving it to you straight, respect it. It doesn't matter if it's what you want to hear. You would rather them do that or lie to your face and be shady.
Your dad's the same way. Your dad's he lives what he preaches. So, guy I respect a lot, and
Yeah.
he obviously had a lot to do with your, growing up. I mean,
Yeah.
positives and negatives probably.
Yeah, I get some of my attitude from him, but that's you know what I mean.
But in the end, a couple of those negative things actually make you into a more positive person because you
Yeah.
don't put up with people's crap and you don't tolerate crap. I'm using good words.
Yeah.
You're gonna stand up for what you believe is right, and I think that's Big Steve all the way.
Yeah, I agree.
So great family. I just want to say that real quick about your family. Great family.
Yeah.
Your mama, your sister,
Great.
your dad.
Great.
You guys,
Tremendous people.
You guys are just always a very steady, consistent, constant, supportive family that didn't make a fuss. Except for your dad was smoking cigarettes at the football game.
Getting kicked out of football games for smoking cigarettes behind the buses.
We're like, Big Steve, just go to the baseball field, smoke in the dugout, man. Come on, just. But he couldn't. He had to follow you up and down the sidelines. So he couldn't just. He had to be somewhere closer when you get back on defense. He could follow you.
We all have our faults.
Yeah, I wouldn't call that a fault. Big Steve is a man. But good, man. Well, hey, and do you have anything that you wanted to just throw out there? If you could say, I mean, you've already said quite a few things to these guys. Is there anything that you want to throw out? Questions for me? Anything that's kind of just stands out to you as something you want these guys to know? And maybe words of encouragement going into a young season. I mean, we talked earlier. We're young, but we're experienced.
I mean, if I'm telling these kids anything, just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, high school baseball is fun. Like, there's nothing. Like, it's short, but it's so much fun. Like, you don't have any stress on you. You know what I mean? Because you can just have fun with your friends. School in high school isn't hard, so stop making it out to be hard. It's not.
This is not sophomore and junior Steven talking, by the way. This is senior Steven talking.
Yeah, this is senior me talking. So, I mean, we'll get into another story about Mooney calling me and changing my schedule all up so I can get into Norfolk State.
Yeah, we went into the guidance counselor's office and was like, okay, no more advanced classes for Steven.
Yeah. So, but dude, just have fun, enjoy it. You know what I mean? Because it ends quick. Yeah. I remember my freshman year to my senior year. It's like, even in college, like I remember getting to Norfolk State, and now it's like, dude, it's my time's up. It's almost time for me to move on from this too. And a lot of these kids that are young, like, you gotta think, if you're a junior, like you think you got a lot of time left and you don't. Even if you're a freshman, dude, it ends quick. It
flies by.
Dude, you just gotta buy in, man. Enjoy it. Would you rather go through 4 years of being on a bad team or a good team?
Hey.
Winning's a lot more fun than losing.
That's right. It's only fun in baseball.
It is.
If you have to make it fun, you're not doing it right.
And if you're hitting, ground balls suck.
Come on.
Don't hit any ground balls.
There's a time and place, Steven. You know that.
No time for ground balls. Come on, man.
7 high school jacks. Come on, man. Just
what
7.
do you mean? I probably hit more home runs here than
didn't we
anybody
do
else
like a
ever.
BP against each other? Like a
yeah, and I won.
Did you? I thought we
won.
tied.
No, you hit the first home run. I'll give it to you. Your first swing, you hadn't swung in a while. You hit a home run. And I was like, oh, it doesn't matter. What does the BP look like today? Any kids putting balls in the tennis court or anything like I used to do, or what?
Coppage can spin on it a little bit. When he spins on it, he's got a little bit of pop in the hands.
All right, but I'm telling you, remember that home run I hit over the wall, over the net in center field against Midlothian?
I do remember that. Yes.
Yeah. If any of them do that, I'll come back and.
There's not much of that going on, Steven. There's not much of that. They don't have the set of tools that you had, the body, the gifts of your body that you have. Well, good, man. Well, like I said, I'm really thankful that you're here, and you mean the world to me. And Coach O'Hare, I'm speaking for him now because he's not here. He was going to be here, but he had to take his wife somewhere. But I'm speaking for him. You mean the world to us. Everybody else here at the school still talks highly. And we were in our Christmas party today with the faculty. Like, guess what I'm seeing today? I was over at Miss Tatum. Stephen Baughan's coming today. We're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, really? How's he doing?" "Oh, he's doing phenomenal." It's so good to be able to say that about you because after your sophomore and junior year, we're like, well,
am I going to end up in jail or am I going to end up in college?
What's this kid going to get into in his life? But to see you succeed is, like I said, the rewards that we have. We don't get many of them.
Yeah.
So to see that and, guys like you, and you're not the only one that we're like, oh, my God, he did it. There's other guys who are like, come on, man, you can do this. And they eventually do, and you're like, okay, we got him there. They just said it takes a village. Yeah. It took a village to get your ass through high school.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, one last thing before we stop this thing. We're right here around 53 minutes or so. I want you kind of embody the mentality that I love, and that is the red ass FU mentality. Okay?
Yeah.
Now, within reason, obviously within good taste, obviously all the time if we can, how would you tell these guys to have that mentality with good taste and be able to still compete with that red ass, piss and vinegar? You can't coach that, but
the best way, you got to think every time you go out there, they're coming out there to embarrass you. Like, that's what I always thought of, like, because y'all are both playing for, like, you got to think, when you're out there hitting, you're playing for your respect. That's how I always thought about it. Because you're out there, like, if he strikes you out, like, he just disrespected you. Like, you got to think of it like that. Like, every time you go play a team sport, like football is a better explanation for me because, like, football is a big respect game. Like, when you go out there, like when I was playing out there, nobody would give me any cheap shots. Nobody would do any of that because they knew, like, what was coming back if they did. You know what I mean?
You're going to get it.
You were going to get it twice as bad if you did it. And it's a respect thing. Like, you got to go out there and make other teams respect you. Like, when I played baseball, and whenever I went up there to hit, teams respected me.
Yeah.
When I went out to the field, like, other players respected me.
And if you don't go out there demanding that respect, what are they going to do? They're going to stomp all over you. And then we had several teams and several individuals on this program who let themselves get stomped on. And really, we were kind of almost there for a little while last year. We were young and almost letting ourselves get stomped on. The second we put our foot down, said, no, F you.
Exactly. That's what
And
you got to be like.
we up against Cosby, and we said, F you. It changed. And that to me, what you just said, is just, you got to expect, you got to earn that respect. You got to go get that respect and demand it. And I think that's exactly what I thought you would say.
Respect is the most important thing when you go out there. When you go out there, you got to make sure they don't all have to like you or be your best pal, but when you go out there, like, hey, you have to leave making sure everyone at that field respects you.
And you want them to know, hey, you got to know what you're coming into, and you're going to know when you leave what you got out of us, and you're going to talk about it both times. You're going to talk about it before, and you better believe you're going to talk about it afterwards. Yep, they were right there. And if we can live and die by that and really demand that respect before and after, I'm telling you, the wins are going to follow, and they're just keep on coming. So,
I agree, big time.
Steven, that's your mentality. I mean, I knew that's exactly what you were going to say. It's funny. I could have wrote it down in my notes. I'd be like, he's going to say respect, and if you don't demand it, you're going to get your butt kicked.
Respect is me. That's the biggest thing you can ever.
Yeah.
Because I don't care if you like me, but you're going to respect me.
That's right.
Rule number one.
Yep. And if you don't, you're either going to catch an earful or a fistful.
Probably.
Because that's happened before too.
Not no more. I'm cordial these days.
Okay, well, wait till the spring when somebody plunks your ass.
I'm cordial these days.
You be cordial with it. Yeah, well, Steven, thanks again for coming in. You did not have to do this. Steven called me up, the other day. He's like, "Hey, I'm gonna be around. What are y'all doing?" I'm like, "Well, O'Hare might be there. Wilkerson's out. I'll be around. Come do a podcast." And he said, "Okay." With no fuss or muss. He doesn't even know what he's gonna be walking into. And here he is spending an hour with me, talking, catching up. It's been awesome. And this means a lot to these guys because they're going to hear what a Clover Hill guy did and is still doing currently. And that's so big. It's so important for these guys to hear that the things that you did at Clover Hill have, kind of kept on going, forward. So
yeah, and if y'all ever want to hear any more PG-13 stories, just ask Mooney when you see him.
Yeah, there's a couple other stories that we can't mention on the air here because I'm trying to keep my job and keep Steven out of the news. So,
but seriously, y'all, this has been so cool. I mean, I love to come back. I'll be here as much as I can. Through the winter and when I come back after the season's done. So, good luck this year, y'all. Go do something special. Hey, seasons are short in high school. Make the most of them.
Yeah, hopefully we won't see Steven at all. Hopefully we'll be playing in the regionals this year. We don't want to see Steven during our season. All right, if we see Steven during our season, that means the Spartans didn't have the best season.
Yeah.
All right, they finished a little bit early and got done right around exam time.
Yeah.
So we don't want to see Steven this spring. But Steven will be a fixture here, guys. Steven's a man. Love him to death. He is a permanent fixture in this program and a guy that I would love for you guys to see move around the baseball field, to see the way he carries himself. This is all stuff that, this podcast definitely helps for you to hear how he talks and the things that he's been through. So, Steven, thank you. Thank you for coming in and doing this with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're the
Great
best.
opportunity.
You're the best, man. Hopefully, maybe we can do it again one time. Maybe we can call you in after y'all are rolling through in May and June.
Hey, man, whenever my phone's always open to anybody that goes to Clover Hill.
Good. Well, if I have a guy who's getting a steady diet of curveballs and can't hit them, I'm sending them to you.
I can't hit the curveball. I can't hit the slider.
Yeah, that's the tricky part right there. Yeah, that's the truth. That's the truth. But I've got that phone call before. But Steven, thanks for coming out, man. Thank you for doing this, and hopefully we'll be able to do this again sometime. And best of luck to you. Tell your family I say I love them, and hope to see them soon. And we'll talk to you next time. All right?
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Episode 6, Pitching the Content. Tune in to our coming episodes. We do have part 3 of Buying In. We're going to talk a little bit more about the defensive side of the game and a little bit of culture, and that's coming up very shortly. So, to keep on listening to these podcasts, this is for you, for nobody else. So we're putting the time in for you guys. So please listen. And if you don't, screw you. All right, man. Have a good afternoon, Steven. Thanks for coming by.
Good luck, y'all.
Thanks, man.